Now, I want to welcome to the program from the Virginia Shooting Sports Association, the Legislative Affairs Director, Dave Adams, is with us. Dave, how are you, sir?
I'm great, Cam. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, I'm glad to have you. Listen, it is kind of surprising to me. I figured that election talk would pick up after Labor Day in Virginia. I'll be really honest with you, Dave, it's been pretty quiet. I mean, I'm starting to see some yard signs pop up here and there, but I'm not hearing a lot of chatter yet about the elections, and that's kind of concerning to me because we do have elections in Virginia in November, and it's important that gun owners get out there and vote.
Absolutely. We've got all 140 seats in the General Assembly, the 40 in State Senate seats, and 100 House of Delegate seats. All of them are up for election this year. And you're right. I mean, you're starting to see some yard signs pop up here and there, but it has been pretty quiet. I don't know if some of that has to do with a lot of the districts aren't competitive or there aren't challengers in some of the districts. But there are a handful of state Senate seats that are really important, that are competitive, that will determine whether Terry McAuliffe gets a majority back in his favor again and will start trying to advance some gun control, or whether we keep our small pro-gun majority and keep him from being able to pass anything out of the state Senate and put pressure on the House delegates.
You know, to that end, I know that the conventional wisdom, anyway, in Virginia is that there are about a half dozen Senate seats that are going to be competitive. Now, I think no matter where you live, treat your race like it's going to be competitive. Don't assume anything. And, of course, you know, every delegate seat, as you say, is up for grabs. But, you know, given the makeup of the state Senate right now, you know, Governor McAuliffe, I mean, he's hoping to turn the Senate anti-gun. What is the margin right now, Dave? Because it's fairly close, right? It's a lot less than 6.
It's one vote, flip one seat, and he's got his majority, Democrat majority, with the lieutenant governor casting the tie-breaking vote.
So there you go. I mean, the stakes really are high. Politico, or WTOP's headline was political stakes are high for McAuliffe, but the stakes are high for gun owners too.
Absolutely. I mean, you've got he's out there investing a lot of money, raising a lot of money through his PAC. They're comparing what he's doing this year to what then Governor Bob McDonnell was able to do in 2015 by raising a lot of money and airing a lot of TV ads to flip the Senate from Democrat control to Republican control. So McAuliffe's trying to use that same recipe to do the same thing this year. And right here where I live in Chesterfield County, the state Senate District number 10, you've got John Watkins, a Republican, who was voted with gun owners most of the time, is retiring. It's an open seat. You've got Glenn Sturtevant, who's an A-rated or AQ-rated candidate through the NRA Political Victory Fund, against Dan Gecker, who's a member of the Board of Supervisors here in Chesterfield. He got an F rating. He, as a Board of Supervisors member, didn't really have any gun votes, but as soon as he was handpicked by McAuliffe to run for the Democrats, has been parroting McAuliffe's anti-gun line. McAuliffe picked him because he was able, as a Democrat, to win a Board of Supervisors seat in a heavily Republican district. So he's hoping he can flip that seat. Is also the Hal Parrish seat up in District number 29, another seat that's being retired because as a longtime Democrat, Chuck Colgan's retiring, so that's an open seat. And Hal Parrish is the A-rated PVF candidate for NRA, and he's running against an anti-gun candidate. So that's another district that gun owners need to be active in. So that's just 2 of the 4 or 5 that everybody says are the ones that are being targeted by McAuliffe and his anti-gun groups.
Dave, what could gun owners expect if the state Senate were to flip? I know that, again, most people say that the delegates would be safe. You've got roughly a 2/3 majority of pro-gun delegates right now, but what would the result be? I mean, if the Senate were to become anti-gun?
It's possible that he could get a anti-gun bill through the state Senate and then try to put pressure on the House. We feel confident we'd be able to stop anything in the House. But here's the more important point. Not only are there anti-gun bills, but there's always pro-gun bills that are introduced each year. And last year he vetoed 3 very good bills, and we lost the override votes by 1 vote. Had we been able to have 1 or 2 extra seats that were pro-gun senators, we could have overridden his vetoes of the bill that would have standardized the requirements that you have to go through to get a National Firearms Act accessory or firearm. Right now, that's each locality, the chief law enforcement officer can set his own rules and can make it very hard to purchase those types of items. If we had that standardized policy that would have been in Senate Bill, I think it was Senate Bill 948, or House Bill 2009, we could have gotten a standardized set of requirements that would make it easier for gun owners to buy suppressors and other things that are covered by the National Firearms Act. So it's not only stopping anti-gun bills, but it's being able to pass and get into law pro-gun bills. And if he is able to flip the state Senate, you can guarantee that it's going to be very hard to pass pro-gun bills. And if you do get one passed, he vetoes it, you won't be able to override it.
All right. So next question, Dave. What can gun owners be doing right now to have an impact in the election?
First, I recommend that they go to the NRAPVF.org website, find out who the endorsed candidates are in their districts. If you're in the Senate District number 7, Senate District number 10, or 21 or 29, those are the 4 hot districts out there. Gun owners need to contact the NRAPVF endorsed candidate and say, what can I do to help you between now and Election Day?
And, you know, I got to say, Dave, I hope that everybody across the state of Virginia will do this. We really need to be involved. We cannot be apathetic. I know there's a lot of talk about Virginia turning blue, and listen, I don't believe it. I think this state is a pro-gun state. Even in Northern Virginia, you have a lot of pro-gun voices. In Virginia Beach, Newport News area, you have a lot of pro-gun voices out there. We just can't stay on the couch. You know, and off-year elections, the turnout is often not what it is during a presidential election year. Your voice and your vote will matter a lot this year. And I really want to stress to people, I don't really care how upset you might be with Washington, D.C., how fed up you are with politics. You're defending your right to keep and bear arms. You are defending your liberty and your independence when you get out there and you volunteer for your NRA this year.
And gun owners are some of the most active voters, and in a low turnout year, your vote can be magnified because of it being a low turnout. So if we're out there doing what we need to do to help the candidates and then go out and vote on Election Day, we can get our guys elected.
Absolutely. Dave, thank you so much for coming on the program, sir. It is always a pleasure, and I imagine we will be speaking again between now and Election Day.
I hope so.
All right. Dave Adams, the Legislative Affairs Director for the Virginia Shooting Sports Association.